We had you sign in just so we have record of people speaking. And if anybody wants to say anything else, you're welcome to do that. Also, if folks come in, I might just update them on the informal format as they come in, if anybody else comes in. But otherwise, I'll go ahead and just call the names on the list, and you're welcome to, I think since we are recording it, it's probably best that you come sit up here and speak into the microphone. So, and state your name, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we'll just do that. So we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks for being here. It looks like Levi Bray is up first. Yeah, you can do whatever you want to do. Yeah, so it looks like Levi, Easton, and Jenny, do any of them want to come up, or do they not want to speak first? We'd love to hear from you. Yeah.
Again, very informal.
Yeah.
Please, just come on up.
Thanks for being willing to speak, you guys.
Talk on the microphone anyway, right?
You could come sit right up here in the middle, in the most important seat. And whenever you're ready, you can talk for however long or short you want to. And go ahead and just say your name and then whatever you want us to know.
Hello, my name is Easton Bray, and I am here to talk about the Montessori charter school that you guys are thinking about opening up. And I really love Montessori because every child works at their own pace, and they work on what they need to work on, not things they already do know how to work on. So everybody's learning something constantly, and nobody's sitting around doing nothing. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for explaining that to us. Great job.
I was in Montessori from 3rd to 4th grade, and I really loved my experience in Montessori. My teacher, Miss Georgie, was very nice, and she helped me to learn and focus and to help me to know what I needed to do. And I think she would be very good to run a school out somewhere else.
That's awesome. She sounds great.
I think that's it.
Awesome. Good job. Yeah, really good job. Thank you.
Easton is in 6th grade this year.
Okay.
So my name is Jenny Bray, and I didn't really prepare anything to talk about, but just kind of let you guys know about my experience with Montessori. I have a teaching degree. I've been teaching in the classroom for, I guess, 9 or so years now. And when Easton was in preschool, I started looking at different methods of teaching young kids. And I just kept coming back to Montessori, and it just seems so developmentally appropriate. This idea of, kids being encouraged to work on the things that they were interested in rather than like a set curriculum. And excuse me, it just seemed really appropriate. And so I got super interested in it, read everything that I could find about Montessori. And then I started a Montessori preschool back when we lived in Hayden, which is by Steamboat Springs. And so I ran this Montessori preschool for a couple of years, and then we moved here to the Grand Valley. And I found out there was this charter school in Fruita that was a Montessori school, and I was like, oh my gosh, how awesome is this? So I put my boys in there, and then I started working there at the Montessori as their kindergarten teacher. And it was just, it's just so, I can't even describe the beauty of a Montessori environment. Now I went back to the traditional public school, and I'm a reading interventionist. And speaking of the difference between the traditional public school and the Montessori method, I think the biggest difference in my experience and what I view is that kids who are in that Montessori environment, they're intrinsically motivated. They have this desire to want to learn. That's just, it's encouraged and it's fostered by this environment where at the public school, and especially where I am now, at the public school, there's, little slips that teachers give out to kids to encourage and to motivate. Kids get candy for motivation. Kids get their, picture up for motivation. Kids get backpack tags for motivation. They get all of these external motivators. But then at the end of the day, if you remove those motivators, the kids are not going to be excited about learning. They're excited about getting something. At Montessori, the kids are excited about getting that knowledge and that learning. And I can't even describe just the beauty of it. My other little guy who signed up first to talk, just listening to him talk about, his excitement. I got a math fact master today. I became a math fact master. He was telling me today about the large bead frame and how excited he was about this lesson that he was getting. And it's a very different view and a very different experience, I think, for kids in a Montessori environment. They're just so much more invested in their learning, and it lasts forever. It lasts for the rest of their life because you're not motivating them based on something that you're giving them. You're motivating them based on something that they have in their hearts. And it's just such a beautiful method. And for me, so my son, because he's in Georgie's class this year, was asking me on the drive here, so if this school comes up, will Miss Georgie not be my teacher anymore? And I said, I don't know. And he said, then why are you going to talk about it? Like, why would you want Miss Georgie to leave? And I said, it's not that I want Miss Georgie to leave. Of course, I don't. I want more kids to have the experience of Montessori because it's so beautiful. And I think more kids should have that opportunity to experience that. So I think we need a Montessori on every block because it's such a great way of teaching kids.
Thank you. Do either of your other kids want to come talk? You do not want to. Does Levi, do you want to come talk? Okay, all right, we're covered. So for the folks who came in, there's one other person on the list, but I can just add you to the list if you want to come sit down. I'll just write your name down. But it looks like Dirk was the other person. Dirk wants to come talk, and then anybody else can just talk after. Yeah, okay, great. You can come up after Dirk, and I'll just get your name.
All right. Hey everyone, thanks for holding this space. I appreciate the opportunity to, just come and give some commentary and thoughts. So I am born and raised in the Grand Valley and a D51 through and through for all my education here. And so I'm super excited about the possibility of a Montessori charter opening in D51 because when I think back to like my most meaningful and valuable educational experiences, in many cases those were, they could be very experiential and sort of very hands-on. And I think that was a really wonderful and impactful way for me to learn. And so I think that a Montessori charter offers the possibility of just a greater diversity in our educational choices in the Valley. And I think that just having a greater breadth of choice is always a wonderful opportunity and a wonderful option. I don't have like a ton to add. I think others before me have said things very eloquently and in a very lovely fashion. But just genuinely very excited about the opportunity that this could bring to the Valley, just to have more options and more chances to find really the perfect fit for any given individual. So thank you all.
Thanks, Dirk.
It's Peterson.
Hi there. My name is Jessica Soifer. I can spell my last name for you. Soifer. So I'm new to to Grand Junction. I've moved here about 6 months ago, and I have two kiddos. And my son, he's now in kindergarten, and he missed his kindergarten year. He went to a Montessori school, so he missed that kindergarten year. And so I was looking for a Montessori option here, and I looked into the Fruta school, but it just wasn't a fit for us currently. And so to speak on the Montessori model and what it has done for my son, it has really set him up for success within the public school system, and that's where he currently is. And something about the Montessori experience, there was this amazing community, and it's a multi-age group of kids. So he's gone from like the youngest kid and looking up to the older kids to becoming the leader in the classroom, and setting up games, and all the kids wanted to see what he had to offer for that day. And so that community, that sense of community for the kids was so important. And everybody was friends with everybody. There really wasn't any bullying happening. I'm sure there were little tiffs here and there, of course, because of personalities, but really there was a sense of community. And then also, on the other hand, as far as for the parents, for me being new to the area, I'm having to really reach out and search for community for myself and for my family, versus within that community and within the Montessori community, there's ways, for other schools to be able to gather that community, but there's just something special about this community, that there's communication with the parents, and there's activities for the parents to come together and to make those connections. On another hand, the multi-sensory aspect of Montessori with the manipulatives and hands-on and the different modalities of learning taps into each kid individually. So each kid is able to, whether you're, gifted or have special needs, those there's adaptions, not saying that the public school or other schools can't adapt, but the way that the manipulatives or the whole curriculum of Montessori is developed, it taps into each kid individually. And the other thing with that is there's parameters within each lesson that is learned. And so sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Within the modalities of being able to tap into the different uses, so there's the parameters within the lessons, but there's also this freedom of choice. So they're able to, so these are the lessons that they've learned, and so they're able to choose and have more of what is the right word? They're able to take more ownership of their own learning, versus here's the paper, or here's this lesson, this is what we're working on. They have a wide range of lessons that they can work on. And then they can't move on to the next lesson until they master that. But having that, taking the initiative within their own education, I feel is so important. And it just helps tap into getting all kids excited about learning. And so I've really seen a sense of freedom and a sense of excitement with learning. And I've seen a difference in my son being in a school that is very technology driven, and I know that's what our world is today, and I know that's so important. But I think there's other little aspects missing within those manipulatives, and even there's a lack of art within the community and the schools here, and so that's also integrated, and I think that is such an important aspect within the education as well. And I was an art teacher, so that's just really near and dear in my heart. So my son made pillows, and he was sewing at like 3 years old, and so it was just a really special experience that we've had, and it would be really wonderful to share that with the community here and allow other kids to be able to be a part of that as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak? Yeah, come on up. Straight. I'll just have you state your name so I can write it down.
Kelly, just K-L-O-Y, Carpenter.
Go ahead, Kelly.
I just wanted to say that I guess my daughter was a little upset because Dad didn't make it home in time, so she's here. We really liked the Montessori curriculum. That's where she is right now. And kind of what people have already mentioned, I really loved that she thinks we like go to work together, and she always reports back on her works, and she feels so accomplished like in her own successes. So she doesn't get rewards. We're not, we really don't often even say like, great job or anything to her, and she still seems to have this motivation to learn. And of course, I'm crediting the school because I wasn't a student like that, and I didn't feel very motivated to educate myself growing up. And comparing the Montessori system to my own education, I'm like kind of jealous because I feel like I missed out. Like, oh, I might have studied that a little harder or been more intrinsically motivated to get better at something, not just to like, get a good grade to get into college. But I do think people I've met, I'm not from Grand Junction, but I've been here about 6 years. And a lot of people that are moving to the city, when they meet me, even before I worked at a school, it was always like, oh, are there Waldorf schools? Are there Montessori schools? And I don't like the term like alternative education because I feel like it can all be integrated into more of a collective kind of classroom mentality. But I know there's a lot of interest in alternative schools, and I think if they could expand those options, they would see a lot more enrollment in those, maybe less homeschooling and more people in the D51 system. So that is my hope. But I mean, I'm biased, I get it, because I love the method. The adults that I know that had Montessori educations, and even the people we bought our house from when we moved out here, their daughter was a Montessorian from like Hotchkiss, and she just spoke really highly of it and loved the education she was given. But that's really it.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Casey Selleck. The first name is K-C, and then last name is S-E-L-L-E-C-K. Sorry, I didn't sign up. I did not plan on speaking. Public speaking is not my forte. Yes. I really wanted to support their movement here. My son currently goes to the Montessori school in Fruta, and the amount that he has grown in the past 2 years being there is amazing. I think one of the important things about Montessori is it's not like, here, go to school, this is what you're learning today. You sit at your desk, learn from the whiteboard what the teacher's presenting. It's not that style at all, and I know he would have really struggled with that. It's a struggle at home. They really focus on the whole child there. Your child's not just there to learn, this is what's required, this is what's required, this is what's required. They tailor every day to the individual child and the learning style that works best for them. It's very hands-on, and them getting a say in what they're learning that day well, they still guide them, of course. You're not going to just be able to focus on one thing the entire year. But that's just huge. They're really raising independent, kind children with Montessori. And that's huge. I know there's so much bullying that goes on in today's school systems, and they really focus on the whole child. And so I just wanted to say how important that's been to our family, and I really support their cause here.
Thank you. Yep, come on up.
Everybody's getting brave now.
Once Easton led the charge, everybody got brave.
Started a movement. Okay, my name's Hannah, Hannah. Last name Schweitzer, Schweitzer. Yeah, I didn't plan on saying anything, but as people are talking, I'm like, man. So I went to a Montessori preschool in Texas, and I think I only went from ages like 3 to 5, but my mom was a Montessori educator. And after Montessori preschool, I went to private school, but I would consider, like, those early memories are some of my, those are my earliest memories is at Montessori preschool, which is crazy that I even have those memories. But when I'm thinking back on it as people are talking, I remember the beads, the counting. There's terms for these that I don't know, but I have memories of what they're talking about, and it being such a sacred space, it being a very you're very gentle with the things, you're learning how to handle things carefully and see the value in the things that you're working with and what your hands are, the value and your time spent at your work. And even as a 3 and 4-year-old, I can remember that, and it's seeped into my brain. So those were some of my fondest memories. And then when someone mentioned community, I was like, wow, that really rings a bell in my soul, because I just remember that as a, and I don't have memories like that in kindergarten and my elementary years in private school. It was really a really cool communal space. And of course, I was so little, but it's stuck in my brain, and holds a very special and sacred spot. And I have a little one who I've been really excited to hear about the potential of this coming up in the valley. So, and again, to echo the other lady, she was saying there's so many moms here and parents here that are really interested in other options. And so I have told so many people about this possibility, and they're like, okay, well, please keep me posted, so there's just in being here, I think I've been in the valley for 2.5 years, and just in that I've met 10 to 15 other families who would be interested in just other options of education for their kids. So yeah, that's that.
Do we have anybody else who wants to talk? Come on up.
Get everyone in here, right? So.
Yeah, everybody has to talk.
We're almost there.
I won't speak to Montessori, and I think Emma would beg me not to. So I'm Paul Apple, Appel, and the husband of Emma Reichs. What I think I can speak to is Emma's record of results, and something that I think through the DAC process that probably didn't really come up is you haven't actually been able to spend a ton of time with Emma and Georgie, who are two amazing individuals. But I want to tell you about in 2018, 2019, Emma was the school district in Texas begged her to step into an assistant principal role for a school that I believe at the time was C or D rated. Texas has an A through F rating program. So it was really struggling. And in that same year, the school leader took family medical leave. And so Emma became the interim principal for that school. In the corresponding year, that school was A rated. And so I think in this process, the question should be asked whether or not Emma and Georgie can deliver results for the kids of D51, and I think the answer is emphatically yes. And there's, I think that might be missing in some of that the interview process, but they're both incredibly gifted teachers. Georgie has a really incredibly strong record of results here within Mesa County, Emma at her schools in Texas, and that's just something that I think should be underscored. Thanks.
Anyone else? There's one person in the room who hasn't spoken, so I'm looking at her. No, okay. Okay. Okay, well, if anybody wants to add anything else, you're welcome to. We are here just to listen, so we're not going to be discussing anything or answering any questions. Dan, were you trying to say something? No. No. Yeah. No. Which Dan? Is a Dan trying to say something? So yeah, if you want to say anything else, please come up. If not, then we'll sit here for a little while longer. But we are not planning on communicating anything to you.
Yeah, thanks, everybody, for coming out.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
It's an incredible process to both for you guys, probably much more so, putting all of that together. It's been quite an extensive process on our end as well. So it's great to hear from the community, and we really thank everybody for coming out and sharing your thoughts. Appreciate it.
Thank you.